Do you know that long before the flood, before Noah built his ark, before the earth was covered in water, there was a time when heaven itself looked down upon mankind, not with wrath, but with wonder?
Welcome to Faith, Prayer, and Inspirational 2, where faith inspires and hope shines.
In those early days of creation, when the world was still young and the stars sang together, angels walked the borders of eternity and watched as human life began to flourish across the earth. These were not ordinary angels. They were mighty, radiant beings, guardians and witnesses of creation, called the Watchers. Their duty was to observe the ways of men, to guide them toward truth, and to report back to the throne of God. But in those days, something began to stir in their hearts that heaven had never seen before. As they watched the sons and daughters of Adam build families, sing songs, and love one another, something unfamiliar began to burn inside them, something that did not belong to heaven. It was longing. Among them was one named Semyaza, a leader among the Watchers, noble and wise. For countless ages, he had stood in the light of God, obeying every command without question. But as he looked upon the earth, his gaze lingered too long. The beauty of the daughters of men struck him like fire through his spirit. They were unlike the angels, fragile, warm, mortal. Their laughter carried through the air like music that even heaven could not compose. At first, he turned away, reminding himself of his place, but the desire grew stronger with each passing season. And he was not alone. Many of the Watchers felt the same pull, the same forbidden curiosity about these mortal women. Their wings trembled at the thought, their hearts heavy with emotions they could not name. They knew what God had said, the ways of heaven and the ways of earth are not to be joined. But the seed of temptation, once planted, began to grow. The Watchers met one night upon the summit of Mount Hermon, a towering peak that reached toward the heavens. There, beneath the canopy of stars, Semyaza stood before them. His voice was calm but filled with sorrow. "Brothers," he said, "you know what burns in your hearts as it burns in mine. These daughters of men are beautiful. I cannot deny it, and neither can you. But what we desire is forbidden." The other angels looked at one another in silence until one named Azazel, fierce and bold, stepped forward. "Why should it be forbidden?" he said. "Are we not also made in the image of God? Why should we not share in what is good upon the earth? If love exists among them, why should we not know it too?" A murmur spread among the Watchers. Semyaza looked to the heavens, fear and yearning warring within him. "If we do this thing," he warned, "it will bring judgment. Heaven will not stay silent." But Azazel only smiled. "Then let us share the risk," he said. "If we fall together." And so they made a pact. 200 angels, bound by oath, swore upon the name of the Most High that they would descend together and take for themselves wives from among the daughters of men. And that night, heaven watched in silence as the stars dimmed, for the first act of disobedience among the Watchers had begun. They descended like fire through the sky, their light streaking across the heavens as men below lifted their eyes in awe. The people thought the gods had come to dwell among them. When the Watchers took mortal form, they no longer shone like stars but appeared as men of great beauty and strength. The daughters of men saw them and were drawn to them, their hearts caught by the glory in their eyes. And so began the union that heaven had forbidden. Angels took mortal women as wives, and from their union were born children not fully angel nor human, the Nephilim, giants of old, men of great renown. These beings were powerful beyond measure, towering over men, their strength unmatched, their appetites endless. They consumed the fruit of the earth, the cattle, and even the lives of men. Blood filled the soil where peace once dwelled. The Watchers taught their wives and children secrets of heaven never meant for the mortal world. Azazel taught men the art of warfare, how to forge swords and spears, how to kill. He showed women how to paint their faces and adorn themselves in finery, awakening vanity and lust across the land. Another, Barakel, taught the stars and the signs of the heavens. Kokabel revealed the mysteries of the moon. They gave mankind knowledge far beyond their time, but that wisdom carried corruption. The earth began to change. Violence spread like wildfire. The Nephilim ruled over humans as tyrants, their voices shaking mountains. They enslaved villages, devoured livestock, and filled the world with cruelty. The cry of the innocent rose to heaven, a sound that pierced the heart of God. And then the Lord spoke. His voice rippled through creation, "My spirit shall not always strive with man, for he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. He looked upon the earth and saw that it was filled with wickedness. The sons of God had defiled what was sacred. Angels who once sang before the throne had become strangers to his light. And God's heart was grieved. The archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, looked upon the chaos below and wept. They stood before the throne and said, "Lord of glory, see what the watchers have done. Behold the blood upon the earth and the cries of those who suffer. Will you not act?" And God answered, "The time of mercy has passed. The judgment is near." Then he commanded his archangels to descend. Michael was sent to bind Semyaza and his followers. Raphael was sent to heal the earth, to cleanse it of the corruption that the watchers had sown. And Uriel was sent to warn a man, Noah, the last righteous soul upon the earth, of what was to come. Meanwhile, the watchers themselves began to see the horror their love had birthed. Their children had become monsters, destroyers of life. Some tried to restrain them, but it was too late. The Nephilim ruled as kings and gods among men. Cities burned. Rivers ran red. Semyaza cried out to heaven in despair. "O Lord, forgive us. We only sought to love what you created. We did not know the cost." But heaven was silent. Their sin was not born of ignorance but of choice. Then, one by one, the great archangels descended in radiant fury. Michael appeared like a sword of flame across the sky, his light blinding. He called out, "Semyaza, son of heaven, your time is done." The earth trembled as the watchers fell to their knees, their glory fading. The Nephilim roared in defiance, but even their power could not stand against the command of the Most High. Raphael bound Azazel hand and foot and cast him into a deep desert, covering him with sharp stones until the day of judgment. Semyaza and the rest were chained beneath the mountains of the earth, trapped in darkness, their wings torn, their cries echoing through the abyss. Then came the flood. The fountains of the deep burst forth, and the windows of heaven opened. Rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights. The waters rose higher and higher, swallowing cities, mountains, and all the works of the Nephilim. Their voices faded beneath the waves, and silence covered the world. Only Noah and his family remained, preserved by grace. And when the waters finally receded, the Lord looked upon the cleansed earth and made a covenant, a promise sealed by a rainbow that such destruction would not come again in the same way. But the memory of the watchers remained. Their sin became a warning written in the foundations of heaven itself. Their story is not just about rebellion, it is about how love, when it steps outside of God's order, becomes destruction. For even angels, who once stood in perfect light, can fall when their hearts turn toward what they were never meant to hold. Yet even in that judgment, there was sorrow in heaven. Because God does not delight in the fall of any of his creation. The angels who remained pure mourned for their brothers, whispering their names in silent hymns. And somewhere in the deepest darkness, Semyaza still remembered the face of the woman he loved. He was not destroyed, but imprisoned. His punishment was to watch the ages pass, to hear the rise and fall of generations, knowing that his single act of love had changed the world forever. He understood at last that true love cannot exist apart from obedience to God's will. Centuries later, prophets would speak of these angels. The book of Jude 1 verse 6 says, "And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day." And Peter wrote, "God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment." These were the watchers, the angels who fell not for pride like Lucifer, but for love. Yet their love was disobedience. Their compassion became corruption. And through them, the world learned that not every form of love is holy. From their story comes the lesson that even good intentions can lead to ruin when they defy divine order. The same God who created beauty also set boundaries to protect it. The Watchers crossed that boundary, and the result was the birth of chaos. And though their names have faded into time, their legacy still lingers in the whispers of ancient stories, in the ruins of old civilizations that speak of gods who came from the sky and giants who ruled the earth. They were not myths. They were memories of a time when heaven touched earth in defiance, and the earth was never the same again. But through it all, God's plan continued. Even from the ashes of rebellion, He brought redemption. For one day, another heavenly being would descend to earth, not in disobedience, but in perfect obedience, Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Where the Watchers brought corruption, He brought salvation. Where they loved against God's will, He loved within it, giving His life for the souls of men. The story of the Watchers reminds us that love without obedience is destruction, but love with obedience is redemption. The same Creator who judged the angels also forgave mankind through His Son. And so, when you look upon the rainbow, remember, it is more than a symbol of peace, it is the reminder that mercy triumphed over judgment. For the Watchers fell, but God's purpose did not. Heaven's sorrow became earth's salvation. And though those angels remain bound in darkness, awaiting the day of their final sentence, their story continues to echo, a warning and a truth. No matter how glorious, no being is greater than obedience to God. Because in the end, even the brightest angel who follows his heart instead of God's command will find that light cannot survive outside His will. That is the true story of the Watchers, the angels who fell for the daughters of men, the love that defied heaven and brought judgment upon the earth.